Hello and welcome back to Agents of Field. Now you may be wondering why I'm in a field standing in the rain. Answer: we're at Powderham Castle. We've come to enjoy Toby's Garden Festival. It's in its 5th year, it's a big weekend, so let's go inside and buy some flowers. I am thrilled to be sat here with someone very special, an Agents of Field favourite. She doesn't need introduction, but I'm going to give it. She's a professional horticulturalist, plantswoman, gardener, garden writer, food activist and self-confessed plant nut. In 2014 she founded Incredible Edible Bristol and is also responsible for Shouty Half Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the lovely, wonderful Sarah Venn.
Well, now I'm going to really disappoint you, aren't I?
Not at all, not at all. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm a bit annoyed that the weather isn't behaving.
No, the weather isn't behaving, but people are still coming.
It's lush. There are loads of people here. I'm really...
Yeah.
Well, we're gardeners, aren't we? We're a hardy lot.
All weathers.
Yes.
All weathers.
Everybody has a pair of wellies.
Absolutely. So have you had a look around yet?
I've had a slip around.
Yeah.
And there are some amazing nurseries here with some beautiful looking plants. And as usual, the last thing that my husband said to me as I left was, "You don't need any more plants."
Yeah. Save the pennies.
Yeah.
But you're going to be spending.
Of course I am.
I was going to say, what do you think of the festival?
So I really like this festival. I like this festival because it's a proper gardening festival. Yeah. I like this festival because it has local independent nurseries, and as everybody knows, that's really what I'm into. And people that you can actually just sit down and talk to about the plants that you're buying and say, you know, where did you grow this and what does it do and what can I expect from it and all of that stuff, which is so important.
It really is. It feels like it sounds silly, but it feels like a proper gardener's festival.
It is. There are no dachshunds made out of shells.
No. Saying nothing. But moving on, and positively.
Yes, obviously.
Okay, because I understand you're not just here as a visitor, you're doing something a bit special.
I am. I'm talking tomorrow about Incredible Edible and Incredible Edible Bristol and what we grow and why we choose the stuff that we grow.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a what do you do if you live in a city and you want to grow stuff, but your time is minimal, your space is probably minimal.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking about all that kind of stuff. It is exciting.
And for the few people, and there's only a few people, who don't know about Edible Bristol, can you just...
So we're part of the Incredible Edible Network. It was founded 4 years ago now, and we are an organisation that supports communities to grow food in lost and unloved spaces, which basically means those horrible little bits of land by the side of your road that are covered in rubbish and nappies and old boots, and in cities tend to be full of really nasty detritus, and we go along and we support the community. So they come to us and they say, we've got an idea. That's the first thing that happens. And we go, right, okay, what is it that you need help with? And whatever it is they need help with, we help them with, basically. So it might be that they need horticultural support, it might be that they need volunteer support, it might be that they need to know who to speak to at the council or who not to speak to at the council. All of that stuff that just kind of makes it an easy transition for them to turn that horrible space into something beautiful and productive.
Wow. And before I forget, how's the bear pit?
So there's a lot happening to move it forwards. It's definitely going in a really positive direction. Our garden remains, and we're continuing to work down there, supported by Bristol's new business improvement district, which is grand. And it goes from strength to strength. It is that thing. At the moment, it's full of tulips. In a few weeks' time, it'll be full of alliums. It's lovely.
Keeps moving on. It's great.
And I have to say, of all the gardens and all the plants and everything I've ever done, it will forever be the garden I am most proud of. Because I know it makes differences to people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh. Anyway.
Don't, because you will set me off.
I was going to say one more question.
Yeah, go on.
Easy question. What is your plant for this season? What's your plant, your vegetable, your shrub, your tree? What's something that's caught your eye?
Oh my gosh, so right now
Yeah.
it's Dicentra, but it's only Dicentra because I've just seen 3
Yeah,
and I'm
okay.
going, oh my god, they're so beautiful. By the time I've walked around again, it'll be something else.
That's okay.
So yeah, I can't even begin to tell you what. No.
Any
I mean,
favourites?
so in terms of growing in the city,
Yeah.
my favourite will always be a globe artichoke.
Okay.
Because it will grow anywhere.
Yeah.
Like literally anywhere. So if you walk around Bristol and you see globe artichokes, you know I've been there.
Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful, the one and only Sarah Venn. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, that's lovely.
Our primary thing is that we have a pick your own farm, and with pick your own you always plan to have more than what you need. So I don't like waste, so anything that's left over ends up in a jar. So I like to say if he can grow it, my husband, I can put it in a jar. So I do all sorts of oddball things that people may not be familiar with, like pumpkin pickle and courgettes. Every gardener's got a glut of courgettes. I put them in my bread and butter pickle, which is my mother's recipe. So I've got all sorts of things. Rhubarb, I've got 3 different, a rhubarb chutney as well as a rhubarb and vanilla jam and a rhubarberry. I do traditional and I do wacky and I do weird, but it all adds flavor to what you're doing.
Okay, so we're Candide, and Candide is a new app. This is its release today, and we're actually releasing in the Southwest. And we've got on our app, we do everything from plant databases to a Discover article, which is like magazine articles. On every element of the app, there's people behind it that actually are in horticulture. So if you put a question on, or if you pose an idea, then there's somebody there who's going to be able to answer it for you and give you some more information. The magazine articles are really good. They're unusual. They're not what you're going to find in your garden magazines. New ones, we've got Eat Your Enemies, which is eating weeds. So dandelion recipes, chickweed recipes going on, all sorts of really weird and strange things, but we wanted it to be different. We also have how-tos. So if you wanted to know how to plant up your seed packet that we've given you, your seed paper, then you'd be able to find that on there by step. And then there is a really good element of the app, which is places. Press on places and it will tell you what's in your local area. So what garden centres there are, what gardens there are. So you could be anywhere at this point in the Southwest, but it will be nationwide, and you'll be able to go, I want to do something today. So I'm going to go to a garden centre, or I'm going to go to a garden. What's local to me? And that's it. It does it for you.
Don't be questions. Trying to be professional about this. How did it all start?
I was on maternity and got bored and made them, and then my partner would go into the freezer and there'd be like 40 pasties in the freezer. So he'd be like, Laura, why are there 40 pasties in the freezer? And so yeah, that's why I started making them. He said he was the one that suggested to actually start doing them.
Yeah.
So I started making them, and 4 years later, this is where I am.
And how many times have you been at Toby's Festival?
This is my 2nd year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how are you finding it?
Lovely. It's such a lovely atmosphere that I really enjoy coming to it. I get excited at least a couple of weeks before we get going, and then a couple of days before it's the actual festival I start frantically going, quick, let's get everything together, and then getting down here, setting up, and the atmosphere and just the people, and seeing Toby and some of the celebrities that come in here, because last year we saw Charlie Dimmock at Ford Abbey, which was really lovely because she was quite an idol of mine growing up, especially watching Gardener's World and things. So yeah, I really like it.
Okay, and one last question. What time were you up to last night? What time did you go to bed?
I finished at 4 this morning. Yeah, so I was up at 6:30. Yeah, I know. But they're fresh.
They are.
They're fresh, and they are made with just total Devon produce and homemade pastry, obviously.
Oh, thank you very much. So So, finally at last, we're here. We're here with the great man himself, Mr. Toby Buckland. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Thank you for taking the time.
Pleasure, yeah.
We'll keep you because I know you're a busy man, but this is a big year for you. It's the 5th year, I understand.
Yeah. We've had a lot of cake.
But I was just wondering, could you take us back 5, maybe 6 years and tell us how it all came about?
Well, it was we had a nursery and we wanted to do more open events. And I was being interviewed by Alan Lewis, who owns Country Garden magazine. And I mentioned that I was working with a group trying to pull together to make a gardening event. He said, I'm very interested in that. So we went along to meetings, and it became very clear that Alan was very, had good experience of putting on events. We thought we'd start with something quite small. But the thing is, if you get a marquee and 5 nurseries, you need some loos, and then if you get loos, you need to get car parking attended, and so it very quickly becomes a sort of critical mass. It has to be a certain size. So when we started, it was pretty much this size when we started. I mean, it's got a bit bigger, but we just landed on our feet, really.
I mean, obviously you've been going from strength to strength, and obviously every year it's getting bigger and bigger.
Well, we just get it better, I think.
Okay,
really.
better.
We try not to grow. Yeah, it's because. Size isn't everything.
That's true.
It isn't, and it's just good to just sort of hone who we have and always have things that are different. That's the key.
Absolutely. So whisking you back now to 2018, what are some of the highlights for this weekend for you?
Well, there's some fantastic plants, and it's partly because spring has been so late this year. It's been cruel, really.
Yeah.
And so just to see that there's peonies coming into bloom, and to see all the saxifrages, I mean, kind of like a convergence of summer and spring all in one go. So that's really lovely. And the other thing, we've got some very good makers, particularly iron workers and woodworkers. So some really interesting craftspeople.
Now, when this video goes out, obviously the festival would have come and gone.
Yes.
But this is not the only festival of the year, is there? There's a second one.
Yeah, we do. This is the Spring Festival, and it's all about kick-starting the season, sowing for summer and the autumn. And then in September, just on the sort of shoulders of summer, we have a harvest festival. That's at Ford Abbey, and that's about the reaping the rewards, if you like. So it's kind of the feeling is very much about harvest, about cut flowers. It's about what you can grow and sow at that point. Also, how to use the plants. That's a real sort of homegrown feel.
Right, okay. And now we've had a bit of a damp start to the year. 2018 spring is here, finally, kind of.
Yeah.
What is, for you, is like the big shrub, plant, or vegetable? What's really got you going this year?
Well, I say bizarrely, I've never really liked Forsythia that much until this year.
Right.
I mean, they were just a plant ubiquitous and almost like a joke that's told too many times, not funny anymore. But actually, this year, they've just been spectacular. And I think it's just in contrast to the winter we've had. They're just so reliable. It just makes you realise there's some plants that, I don't know, you sort of revisit, really. You sort of go off them because they're just, everyone's got them. And they're not always pruned very well. They're in awful, sort of pruned unelegantly, so they're just like domes instead of thin to keep their graceful shape. But there are some fantastic hybrids. There's one called Linwood. Spencer's another lovely one. That just have a slightly softer yellow. But that said, even just the regular hard yellows that have a lot of black in them, I'm really enjoying this year because yellow's the colour of happiness, and coming through the white winter we've had, they are just joyous.
It's welcome, isn't it?
That's so true.
Toby, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy man, you'll be running off, but I have one last question.
Yeah.
Are you wearing your waistcoat?
Indeed I am. Yes, I am wearing a waistcoat. Yes, I am.
Let's waistcoat it.
Oh, look, I've got it under a...
okay.
There we go.
How's that?
Very nice.
There we go.
So slimming.
It really honestly hide a lot.
Yeah.
Toby, thank you for your time.
Thank you very
I
much.
really appreciate it. Thank you. It's finally stopped raining. The sun is trying to come out, and I think we've had a really good day.
It's been a really good turnout here, despite the bad weather, which is really encouraging. And if you do live in the southwest, I definitely think this is a garden show you should come to, because there's lots of good local nurseries, lots of little local food businesses, and it's just a really good place to come and check them all out.
If you can't make it to this one, don't worry, there is a second festival later this year over at Ford Abbey in Devon, and once again this will all be repeated. So I would say it's definitely a gardeners festival, and it's definitely one for the calendar. Right, I'm going to drink my tea and eat my lovely pasty from lovely Laura. If you would like to know more about Agents Afield, then please sign up to our YouTube channel. We would love to hear from you and talk about all things gardening. Thanks for watching.